All right, in this video I'm going to be talking about the circumference of a circle. Now remember, the circumference of a circle is the distance around a circle, like the perimeter of a circle, but we call it circumference for circles. All right, so the circumference formula is C equals pi d. And I also remember this by saying cherry pie is delicious. So find the circumference of each circle, leave your answer in terms of pi. So what you do is you write down the formula, C equals pi d, and you want to find out what is the diameter. Now this is just the radius because it goes from the center of a circle to one point on the circle. We want the diameter, which goes through the center of the circle from one point on the circle to another. So if the radius is 0.15 feet, you could add that by itself, or you could multiply by 2, and you're going to find out, oh, the whole diameter is going to be 0.30 feet, or you could just say 0.3 feet. This 0 is non-significant. So circumference is pi times 0.3, and I'm not going to write the 0 there. Now, it says leave your answer in terms of pi, so don't plug this in your calculator. Your answer is almost done. You just need to take the number and put it in front of the pi symbol. So it's going to be 0.3 pi. All right. Find the circumference of each circle using the pi button. Round to the nearest tenth. All right, so this time I will use a calculator. I know I have to write down the formula. Circumference is pi times diameter. Now this time they did give us the diameter because this line segment reaches from one end of the circle to the other, going through the center of the circle. So I'm going to plug in 8. Then on my calculator, I'm going to plug in pi times 8, and it gives me 8 pi. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a non-repeating, non-terminating decimal. So to turn 8 pi into a decimal, you want to hit this button on your calculator right here. And what it does is it turns 8 pi into a decimal. Now this decimal goes on forever, but I'm going to write down the digits that it shows. 25.132741, and I skipped the last digit because your calculator might have rounded that digit, so it's not always accurate. All right, it says round to the nearest tenth. Here's the tenths place, one place after the decimal. So I want to round there. It's 4 below, so I let it go. So the circumference is about, this is the approximately sign, 25.1 inches, 25.1. If the circumference of a circle is 15 pi yards, what is its radius and diameter? Well, since we're talking about circumference, you can always start with the circumference formula. And they're telling you the circumference is 15 pi. So I'm going to plug 15 pi in for C, circumference. So 15 pi equals pi times the diameter. Now I want the radius and the diameter. I can solve for the diameter right now because it's being multiplied by pi. So I could divide both sides by pi. Pi cancels out on both sides because pi divided by pi equals 1. So I have the diameter equals 15, which means that from one end of the circle to another, passing through the center of the circle, the distance is 15 yards. That's the diameter. So then, therefore, the radius, which is half of that, would be 7.5 yards. So the radius is 7.5 yards and the diameter is 15 yards. If the circumference of a circle is 150 yards, what is the radius and diameter rounded to the nearest whole number? Whole number. All right, well, I'm going to start with my formula. Circumference is pi times diameter. Now, last time they told us the circumference was 15 pi, so I plugged in 15 pi. This time they're just telling us it's 150, no pi symbol. So I'm going to plug in 150 equals pi times diameter. Now, I can solve for diameter. Diameter is being multiplied by pi, so I'm going to divide both sides by pi. The pi's cancel out over here because pi divided by pi is 1. But the pi's don't cancel out over here because there's no pi symbol in the numerator. So I have the diameter equals, I can't say it right now, it's the end of a long day. And I just plug it in my calculator and I get a long decimal. I'm going to write down the digits, except the last one. And it says to round to the nearest whole number. So I'm cutting it off right here. Now, since the number over is 5 or above, I give it a shove, and I just found out my diameter is 48. And if I divide that by 2, this radius is about, on my calculator, I can even show you, it's about 24, which is roughly, it's exactly half, but roughly because we estimated. All right, I hope this was helpful. Please see me if you have any questions.